A 1-year-old, 6-year-old, so sophomore. Yeah, it's, I think we found a few things, but they don't really sound really much.
He's a good town.
I know, because somebody like put a question out I was thinking
Yeah, because like,
oh, you're right.
The rate they currently have 6 to 7 is like, you know,
I don't think so.
the payments, the cost of living is now that's not everybody's problem,
so that's what.
it's a good amount, which is hard. My students are main
Good, how are you?
Ended up standing in the parking lot of my daughter's morning. Yes.
Did you get spoiled too?
That was kind of our
I did a brisket.
Oh, you did a brisket? Was it yummy? My husband.
7 hours on it,
My
and
husband
then I took it
loves
off
brisket.
and I wrapped it in
I opened it and said, nope. Like, well, not just a picture of like,
put it in a cooler
Oh,
for another
wow.
2 hours. Just let this start.
Did you bring it?
I finished it, the last of it last night with salad.
I know that garage. Yeah, that's cold. I'm not cold. No. Me too. I'm not used to it. I'm fine. And I don't get my energy. I just can't lie.
watch this, I do this. Close that, close that.
No, I didn't. Do you see out in here?
You had a hot flash. You get all
I got paid for the discussion.
Let's get better.
We're in trouble.
Great fun Saturday night.
We played golf.
I know. Oh, no, not at all. We went to our friends next door Saturday, and
was just.
Oh, we were just done with golf and he goes, the neighborhood's starting, and I just got a text to go, start someone's house.
Thank you. I ordered a Stitch Fix box. So they're dressing me for me.
My wife does that.
That's where I dress from.
That's awesome. Stop. Otherwise I'm just like, here's my KWT shirt and some green.
Let's go and get started. I'm gonna start with this because, Red Day, is something that's, one of the most amazing parts of our company. Is that supposedly on Red Day, which is whose birthday?
Mo Anderson.
Who's Mo Anderson? Chairman of the board. Vice Chair of the board. And she is the one that Gary turned the company over and took it from good to great. He'll tell you that she took it from good to great. So good morning. Good morning. You're planning all this. You just never know, Christian, you know that. Who's going to show up or who's going to not show up, right, Christian?
Everybody wants to show up.
You never know. And of course, when we had COVID, it sort of put a dent in our thing for a while because we could go places. And guys, to say that last week, see your expectations, would that be an understatement?
It was amazing. Look at some of the numbers behind that board.
So tell us about the numbers, if you would.
Okay, what do we have, 320 agents in the office? We had 85 people come out and volunteer, and part of that was because we just ran out of spots to put people in. So that was amazing. We've had $4,000 donated directly to Must, also phenomenal. Another $700 came in early for us to buy the food to make lunch kits. We made 100 lunch kits. You should have seen the pile of food piled up down there. We also had a group that went out to Gwinnett to Nothing But the Truth. And they did 500 weekend food bags for the kids to take home because these kids are food insecure, so they're not at school, they don't necessarily have something to eat. And then they brought in so many donations and stocked so much food, that'll help another 1,300 families.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is just above and beyond anything we've ever seen done. And thank you all for all the support in every way you gave, whether it be a box of food or $1, it all made a difference.
And I will just tell you, I'm not going to tell you more about this. One member, a member of our office, was so moved by what happened last week that they decided to give a nice donation. Y'all can use something very nice, a nice donation to Must Ministry. It's based on that, on the movie last week and what happened. So guys, it really was a great day, and I like we filled up in the places. So we were, right one more time, we were at Must Ministries up there, and we were here.
We packed some lunches here. We were done in like 45 minutes. People showed up and were like, sorry, we're already done. Because we had such a great turnout. And then we went to Gwinnett for Nothing But the Truth to help up at their location. And then hopefully everybody celebrated a little bit of happy hour between Canton and Marietta.
Guys, let's give everyone who participated. We have a slide, but we'll come back to slide in 1 minute.
And shout out to all our partners who helped us out too with lunches and happy hours and everything y'all did. So we just couldn't do it without Thomas Brett for doing it.
It was a fun day. Yes, sir?
I was up in Canton. The Canton was a lot of fun too. We actually got to give food out to needy families. They drove through, they had a line, it was registered and come through, and they were given milk, a bag of vegetables, a bag of protein, a melon, and
Dry goods.
And dry goods.
Wow.
It's everything from oatmeal to rices, etc. So we literally handed food to people who needed it directly. And tons of little kids were in the back seat just excited to be handed food to eat.
If you all think you know what poor people look like, they look like us.
Yeah. There's no label on them that says I need food today. They look just like us.
A lot of people right now who need help, that kind of help had a great job a few years ago. So guys, we're thankful we have, guys. But anyway, I'm gonna start with our partners. We got here from Thomas and Brown. Here is not here. What is it? Hold on a second.
She's great. They're great.
Go over here, Jeff.
All right. Good morning, Kilauea. Well, we can go back to Thomas and Brown. I'll do there real quick. So Thomas and Brown is having sizzling steps 3-hour CE class on May 23rd. Be there or be square. All right. Supreme Rescue Service. We talk about this all the time. You have a deal. You listing agent and you have a deal and it's falling apart, give us a call. Lots of times, we can help. Patty Jackson was talking about a deal that we saved for her, to ignite with. And we actually ended up closing, 2 days earlier than the contract close date. So, try our Supreme Rescue Service, you can close in as little as 8 days. And coming up this Thursday, and I'm sorry, the flyers that I handed out, I malfunctioned, it was user error on the copier machine. So this one should have been on the back of this one. So anyway, we've got this Thursday at 3 p.m. We've got, personal and professional best. Every month we try to bring in a speaker. You can watch it live online. It's supremebest.com/PPB. The speaker this week is Antoinette Perez. And she's talking about fierce conversations. Who would like to have some insight, maybe get a little better at having, when you have to tell somebody the truth, maybe some tips, just is kind of well, like when we're talking to somebody about a loan, it might be, well, not yet. The answer is not no, not yet, but here's what we need to do, here's what needs to happen, right? And just giving them, I call it carefrontation, right? If you go to a doctor and you don't know you have cancer, but you go to a doctor, and do you want him to sugarcoat it, or do you want him to kindly let you know what the truth is, right? How do you do that? What's the most skillful way to do that? How do you find anyway, so.
Does that work with spouses?
So my anniversary is coming up next month, 25th anniversary, and it took me almost 20 years to figure out to say yes to her. I mean, ladies, does that not work?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Happy spouse, happy house.
That's exactly right. Okay, so moving on from marriage counseling.
I learned how to talk about marriage counseling here, Jeff.
Haven't you given me the hook yet?
Yeah.
One bit of good news, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about loan level price adjustments, the fees that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac charge for different things like credit scores and loan to value, things like that. Well, there was one that had gotten postponed until August for debt to income ratio. And fortunately now that has been repealed, so they're not going to have that at all. So that's some good news. All the others are still in place. It's just rates are where they are, right? And things will get better over time. Any questions? Nope. Well, great. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much for the referrals. Thank you for working hard. We love working with you all.
Thank you, Jeff.
And even though she was late.
Thanks for, I tried to sneak in the back.
That's
Oh, well.
okay. Come on, Kim.
Thank you, guys. Good morning. We have our city class coming up. Thank you, Ms. Kimberly, aka Vanna. Coming up on Tuesday the 23rd, we're going to talk about sizzling steps, basically all the available bar steps. Ones that are crazy that come up at closing, how to best choose a step in a situation that you may have going on. So we're going to kind of discuss all of those, and we're going to have snacks, of course, on the break. So I'll send out an email probably Thursday just to remind you guys if you need to shoot me an email back. We'll be there, so we're going to have treats for everyone. And then just a reminder, our office locations, we have the one here in East Cobb, we have Woodstock, Galleria, Alpharetta, Blue Ridge, Buckhead, Cartersville, and West Cobb. I'm laughing at Chris. Do you want to tell them about your bingo idea?
Bingo or a passport
The
card?
passport card, yeah.
Yeah, I've closed all of them by now.
He has. So
And-
Chris
and I-
was
and I
taking
clo-
pictures of the map with like his name on it. He's like, I've closed out all the offices.
I closed Gainesville on Friday.
That's right. Very good. Nice. Yeah, so thank you guys very much. And like Jeff said, thank y'all for working hard. Thank you for trusting us with your closings. We're excited about the summer coming up. It's been a great spring so far, and if you guys need us, we are here for you always. Thank you.
Thank you. our wonderful sponsor, Store Square, and he's becoming famous for bringing delicious food when he comes. Let's cook. Right?
Yeah, I woke up early and cooked this all myself, so it's a labor of love for you guys. I'm Steven, I'm with Store Square. I was a little bit of a rush today, so I wasn't able to grab like marketing materials, but I figured it's a great time. So who has a cell phone here? Open up your phone, go to Instagram. Who's on Instagram? Okay, I want you guys to follow Store Square on Instagram, because if you guys ever have a client that needs a portable storage container, they want to know how are you different. I want to know what this looks like conceptually. I don't know how much space that holds. What are we looking at? Our Instagram has great videos, great pictures, great resources on what we do, what it looks like, how it moves, so the clients can get a really good idea of what they're going for. So it's Store Square, STOR Squared on Instagram. Super easy. And you can also DM us if you have any questions. I mean, you can all call at the office and talk to me, but I check the DMs anyway, so you're gonna get to me. Just for those who don't know, so we're a great alternative to pods in Atlanta. So if anyone ever says, I need a pod, portable storage, anything along those lines, call us, because I can get you a better container at a better price. They're all steel, top, bottom, and side, very weatherproof. Some really exciting news. We are, in the next few months, gonna be franchising. So we will have multiple locations. We are doing longer trips. I just quoted somebody yesterday going to Pooler, Georgia, which is by the coast. So I can expand more than just our 50-mile radius of Atlanta right now. So that opens up to, I can be more helpful to you guys. Our delivery system, really quick, keeps the containers completely level, completely horizontal as we go on and off the truck and as we move them around our lot. So we make sure that we keep all of the contents as much as we can from jostling around. You guys have any questions, use case, things that you guys are thinking about, any clients that might be able to use this and you're just curious about it? It's a big metal box, put your stuff in.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So I meet a lot of people, they have a lot of stuff in their house, it needs to come out. Where can it be somewhere else?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
So we have 2 lots right now, one in Marietta, one in Gainesville. So if they don't want it on their property, that's totally fine. We'll take it and bring it to our property and store it month to month.
okay.
So we don't really care how long or short of a time they need it for. We'll just keep renting them forever. Yeah. Hopefully. Yes.
So I say this every time you're here, but you guys were like a lifesaver when our house flooded. And that was also during like the deep freeze time. All of our stuff was completely fine. It was in our driveway for 64 days. But who's counting, you know, we're in a hotel for that one. But no problems, everything was nothing got wet, there were no rodents there, I mean, it was perfect. And then I also have you guys come to clients that need to downsize because they don't know that they don't need those stuff. So they want it accessible, and so we just put it in their driveway, and then it's kind of out of the way. And then they can just move it to their new house. So it's a lot easier and more budget friendly sometimes
take
than
you with me.
Uber. I will vouch for you.
Thank you.
And I had another client, hold on, I use you guys all the time. I need a coupon code for my people.
Yes, well, you all get $20 off, all your clients get
Okay,
$20 off,
perfect.
don't worry about
But I had another client who, she had a pod and they couldn't get a driver for it. And then they needed another pod, but they couldn't get a driver to bring another pod out either. And so we called Store Square, they came out, brought it, the pod was still sitting in their driveway after closing. But Store Square was at their new house. So, just saying.
it. Just saying,
Just saying.
thank
Yeah.
you.
I got
I'll
you.
give you $100.
I was just gonna ask, I assume there's an additional fee for the offsite, like storage and things like
Yes,
that?
so we have 4 different container sizes and 2 different ways that it can be stored, so we have 8 different prices. But yes, if we assume more responsibility to keep it safe on our lot, the rental rate does go up.
Okay.
So just to give you a number, a 16-foot container, 8 by 8 by 16, which is the standard in the industry, $209 a month at the client's house, $245 a month at our lot.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Okay, I don't want to take up too much more time in your meeting. Enjoy your food. I'm Steven with Store Square. It's nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Did you want to talk about how your house got lit?
Oh, a sink got left on.
A what?
A sink I left on.
I think, and did anybody call the St. Joe report?
Yep.
I love moms like you. It's called Storm Charlotte, right?
Yes, exactly.
Storm Charlotte. You know that her daughter, she's still there. Storm Charlotte, exactly. Okay, guys, let us move on. And before we move on, I didn't ask, does anybody have a guest this morning they'd like to introduce? Hey, please, or Ed?
Stand up. And this is Reed Robertson.
What's his name?
Reed.
Reed's asking what Reed's name is. Reed's asking what Reed's name is.
She didn't get it.
Reed.
Reed's asking what. Okay, I had a granddaughter spend the night with me last night. So y'all wanna give me something, I've had like 12 minutes sleep, so, and here I am, and here's our guest. He is a local sports legend from Coke Baseball. He now plays collegiate baseball at Georgia College and University.
All right.
And is thinking about the real estate business. So his real claim to fame is that his grandfather and Morgan were best friends since they were in first grade.
Wow.
And that's a long, long time.
They shared a buggy.
Just saying.
In fact, we shared his grandmother, we've had fights together, we've had played football together, we've had races together.
Anything you can say to us about what you're thinking about the real estate business?
Well, I'm just excited that I get to learn from you and Thumper and let's see.
That we're gonna need to hear more about.
That's another story.
And I'm excited to see if I'm gonna be in the real estate business or not, but I think I will. I don't want to be trapped in an office all day, so this is a great spot to be.
Yeah. And also, he is currently doing KW Real Estate School.
Wow.
So, yeah, thank you, Kimberly, for getting all of that set up for us.
Thank you. We're coming there. We do have a real estate school here, that anybody can sign up in the state of Georgia. Kimberly, tell us a little tiny about it,
It's
please.
an online course, it's free, the only fee you pay is the actual exam. You have 6 months to complete it, and that's about it.
And see her for more details, but guys, we have a fair amount of people enrolling that right now. There's no excuse for not getting in real estate right now, because you can get in for and Brenda.
This is Alex Campo.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Can you tell about you?
So I am actually very close friends with Brenda's daughter, Courtney. I have been in the business world for quite some time and am just very, very intrigued and curious by real estate right now. Most of my experience has been in sales, pharmaceutical, insurance, staffing, all sorts of things, but this has been something that has been on my heart and in my mind for a long time. So I'm just thrilled to be here and learn more, and just thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
And where are you in the process? Have you sort of started your school?
No, I mean, I just am now opening my mind to it.
Cool,
So
great.
schools, all the things. But I live not in this part of town, but definitely in the Atlanta area, and I'm just very intrigued. And so thank you.
Thank you. Let's welcome you. Guys, thank you so very much. All right, guys, this is our belief system right here. It's called the Y4C2Ts. Took me forever to learn to say that correctly. Y4C2Ts. And so let's have someone pick which is their favorite one today. Brenda, which is your favorite one today?
I say teamwork,
Why teamwork, Brenda?
because everybody here, since I joined in November, has been amazing. Just have a question, somebody's willing to help you. And it's really helped me develop, and everybody has just been amazing.
Well, teamwork, everyone works better together, don't they? And we are willing to share here. That's what I love about this office and most of Keller Williams is that you have something, you're willing to give it away, because it just makes it better. So Brenda, thank you for picking that one today. Let us move on. Aging and staff, this will become one of my favorite things, because we want to do stuff about people, and so this is who we're highlighting today. I know it can't be me. All right, today We have got Teresa Gale of the Gale team. She was a senior account director for a marketing company called Have Sports and Entertainment. She joined KW because of the culture, the technology, training support, and being on the ALC. She has been in the real estate for 8 years. Interesting fact, I was born in a hippie commune called The Farm near Summertown, Tennessee. We'll hear more about that. Even though I never actually lived there, the community made a lasting impact on me. I had a natural childbirth for both of our kids due to the inspiration from the co-founder of the community and a midwife, Emma Mae Gaskin, who spreads the message that we can be fearless and have natural childbirth. Can we have a hand for that, guys? All right, now, who does not know Libby in here? We all know Libby, exactly right, Joe. Previous occupation, nonprofit, joined KW because it was a local office, Keller Williams' name, training on how to build a business, and I stayed for the people from the staff to other agents. 6 years in real estate. Interesting fact, I'm a pretty open book. I love to dance. I have zero interest in sports. I met my husband on Bumble, and I would say it's working out pretty well. All right, that's what you have to tell me the joke behind that a little bit later, okay? But anyway, that's great. We love Libby.
Bumble is not dating. That's why.
Yeah.
We'll get you on it. We'll get you on it.
I think I'm taking care of next spot.
Try it for free,
Yeah, my holiday service was provided by God, so I'm gonna leave that one right there, okay? Power hour.
She's in Austin right now, you know that, with Gary
What
Keller?
did you say?
She's in Austin with Gary Keller right now.
Oh, that's exactly right, yeah, she got invited in Gary's top 100 group, and so she's there right now, which is actually great, we love Libby. Every Wednesday, power, you wanna talk about this, Ron?
So,
Can you stand up?
I told you my legs are sore. So we're starting script practice Wednesdays 9 to 10. It's actually going to be partnered up role play. Okay, so you script practice, and we're going to pick different subjects to do scripts on each week. And then look at that, right after you practice, you could do something that's really weird. It's called lead gen, and you can actually pick up a phone and have a conversation with the script you just practiced. Groundbreaking. It's new and improved. Awesome.
Respectful to you, it's not new, it's not improved. Show up if you want to do more business, guys. That's the bottom line. Which have to do. Anyway, got that. We're glad to have that back. 9, 10, 10, 11 guys, and please show up because it will improve your business and improve you doing more business. All right, Google Demystified on May 16th. You want to talk about this, Arthurine?
Yes, this is from the KWYP, of which we are not a part of that, because we've aged out gracefully. And so this is gonna be on Zoom, and they're gonna talk about how you use some simple strategies on Google to increase your productivity and your visibility, which we all need. So check Kimberly's text for the link.
This lady is incredible talent. Found brought to us by Arthurine. So guys, please jump on this, guys, because being able to know what to do on Google and how to make it more productive is something we all need to do. So please join us on May the 16th from 12 to 1:15. Group coaching coming soon. Rules and registered status Wednesday, May 17th, 11 to 12 in person only.
This is Sherry.
With Sherry Risky, exactly right, guys. So you need to hear more about that.
Yes.
Because they're getting tougher and tougher on you. If you say coming soon, then you let people in your front door. So guys, just realize there are some rules about that. They're not my rules, they're the rules of FMLS and MLS. So guys, so please get on here and make sure you understand what you can and cannot do, because they are cracking down on this. And that's because we have such low numbers, we're going to talk about it, okay? Command App Happy Hour. Thank you, Kevin Jackson. We love you, Kevin Jackson, guys. If you are not using Command, you are leaving money on the table, because it's a way for you to lead generate, a way for you to keep up with what's going on in your business. So if you're not using this, jump on Thursday, May 18th from 5 to 6. But you do need to reach out to Kevin Jackson. He's in this office. He works with Patty Jackson. And so jump on there. Happy hour coming up on May the 18th, Thursday. All right, guys, Red Day. This is just some of the pictures we got on Red Day. As you can see, we were in multiple places. Red Day was amazing. I heard from Mo Anderson, and she was proud of everything we did because I was so excited to tell her about it. So, guys, just realized it was a successful day, and we thank all the volunteers who showed up that day. And probably someone we don't even know about showed up. So thank you so much for being there and doing it for us. All right, Rob, you want to do this?
Can I do an announcement while he's walking up there?
You can, yes, ma'am.
Save your date for Saturday, June 24th. It is the third annual trivia contest in the backyard of Patty Jackson's house. And it is a lot of fun. Like, I missed the first one, saw the second one, I went, oh my god, this is great.
You said June 24th?
June 24th, we'll start sign up soon. You can put together your own little trivia team if you need to bring ringers, but it should be a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, I'm on here.
No kids, but spouses and guests.
Okay, so it's called an icebreaker, right? Your little penguin for your first listing. So who got there? Brenda Roth. Hey, Brenda! There you go. And it's a good one, and Brenda is doing awesome. She has been working every day and doing her lead gen and really leaning in, and all of a sudden it happened slowly and now quickly and suddenly, right? So you got 3 or 4 going on right now. So awesome. First closing. You get a payday bar because it's your first closing. That's it.
Wow.
Is he here today?
No, he works for, he's a
Yeah.
dual career agent.
Dual career agent.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was like $1 million deal. The first deal. Very nice. Do we have anyone else?
That's it. All right, well, this is, thanks, Rob. This is my favorite thing to do. I hate to remind you about this, but what does it mean when you get your cat?
Keep all your money.
Well, I mean, you keep all your money, is that correct, Joe? And guys, I still get killed, and at least once every couple of months, someone comes to me and says that everything's so high at Kelly. I go, what do you mean we gotta pay to have an office there? I mean, when you pay like your $65,000 to your company, you think you pay for your office, and they don't get it. So where do you get the $65,000, whatever it was, went to? They went, oh. So guys, I love that when you come here, once you pay an $18,000, you cap and you get to have 100% for the rest of to your anniversary date, which is great. So our April cappers. And by the way, Kim has ordered us some new and improved hats. They're on the way. They did not come in yet, so we're gonna have them. So we're gonna recognize them today, but they're gonna get the caps a little bit later, okay? First one is Heather Abernathy. Yay, Heather! Brother back here, dad back there, Rich. So Rich, by the way, Rich, thank you for bringing you and your family here. How many years ago now?
It's been a few.
Exactly right, Jeff. Exactly right. He did it for his daughter. So guys, Heather Abernathy, we love you, and she's an amazing, amazing agent. And of course, also Suzanne Chapin. She is a 100% of your hand. Nina, you're here. Come on.
Thank you, Tim. Aw, thank you guys. You're the best.
And you guys, she's a doctor. Yeah, you must say. Anyway, she does some modeling. How about that? And she's a doctor.
I'm the model doctor that nobody wants to see.
Exactly right. So your doctor looks just like her. That's great. Okay, great. Kenna Dodge. Hey, Kenna. Kenna's parents have bought a condo. They sold the condo. They bought a condo, and the condo is still being redone, and so they're living with family right now in Newman. So they're homeless right now. So she's excited to get her new place maybe in the next couple of weeks. So way to go, Ken. I'm proud of you. Rachel Ellinger. Let's give Rachel a hand. And she is the daughter of John Ellinger, and they have their team, and Rachel is, of course, doing well. This is the second time she's capped? The second time she's capped. Exactly. Maria, where are you, Maria? Huh?
is Maria's first time. She's a dual career agent.
Let's give Maria first time person. Maria. We love when new ones, okay? We love when do okay? Dan Fowler. One more time, let's give Dan a hand. He's one of our commercial agents here, and I think he was one of the first to join this office. So, thanks, Dan. I'll wait to cap one more time. Jill Harris, come on. Jill, how many times have you capped? How many?
I don't know, maybe
18? Is it easy?
after the first year, it's easy.
Let's give her a hand, you all. Kirsty McCrae, where's Kirsty? Is she here? Let's give her a hand, you all. One of our cappers. By the way, if I butcher your name, please forgive me. It's because I can't see well. Virginia Moran, where are you, Virginia? How many times have you capped, do you think?
14.
Let's give Virginia a hand.
That is the goal.
That's the goal. Virginia, remind me one more time. You interviewed with me when you first got into real estate, is that right? Or you came here, remind, because you were in another office.
with Deborah.
Say it again?
I interviewed with Deborah.
We're different with who was here before me, decided to go to a different office, and about how many months ago did you come join us?
January.
Let's give her a hand. We love having her here with us. We love having her. Right there with Virginia. Okay, exactly right. Who else? Rhonda Sodell, come on. First time, come on up, Rhonda. I'm calling her up because I want you to hear how many months you've been with our office.
4, 3, 4, 5.
Caps in 4 months, Joel. What do you all think? Can we give her a hand for that? Rhonda, did I embarrass you?
No, you're good.
Oh, good. Well, not that I care one way or the other, but.
You don't care.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And Grace Thompson, where are you, Grace? Yes, Grace! You guys, she has a funny accent. We love Grace. And this is your second time capping your first time. Third. Let's give her a hand, you all. There you go, Grace. We love you, Grace. Scott Barani, where are you, buddy? Scott, hey, Scott. Scott, how many times have you capped? Humble Scott. Exactly right, Joe. Yeah, well, Scott, we love having you here. Let's give him a hand, you all. We love Scott. Rich Wiedekund, how about a hand for Rich? Parents are capped about the same time every year, so guys, we love it. So congratulations, Rich. Lessons learned, you're up.
All right. So it's always interesting what comes across my desk and everything, and when I do this, I just have to pick out of several different things. So we had an interesting one yesterday, Scott. I'm going to share this. So, you know, a stigmatized property, right? Or if someone dies in a property, which I have a friend who's passed in the property, I'm going to be selling. Scott had a situation where there was a murder in the driveway. Okay. In a very, very nice townhouse subdivision of like 800 plus, right? And he came to me and his buyers, he's representing the buyer, what has to be disclosed and what do you do? So I'm going to pose that question to Gina. What do you think? Because I'll let you know that everyone struggles with this. So, what do you think? You think you'd call me?
Let's see, wasn't that at 8:30 on a Saturday night?
Yeah, she called me 8:30 Saturday night.
You do not need to disclose it
Yeah,
unless they ask.
You just sort of dance around it as best you can.
Okay. So if you have knowledge, right, and you are asked, you would then share that knowledge. But you don't have to say, hey, we're selling XYZ, grandma died in the basement, and here you go. You don't have to do that. So it's if you're asked, yes.
The other side to that, that's the rule, but the other side to that is when they close and they find out from neighbors that happened, and then they find out that you knew, yeah, that's a problem.
So, as I said to Scott yesterday, I said, once we know, we can't unknow, right? And to Scott's credit, he said, I already told my buyers, they know, right? And so he's not gonna have that situation, but his question was more important, and this is why Scott is always capping and everything, because he keeps his clients for a long time. And he was like, they're closing now. He was like, what, in 3 to 5 years, I know I'm gonna sell this house again, right? So he's looking forward and looking out for his clients. So you could share, just, if you're a listing agent, that's a little different, right? And, what do you wanna say, what do you not wanna say? So that was an interesting.
With the stigmatized properties, everything changed with the onset of AIDS. And I believe that rule is still a part of our fair housing, and
It is.
it is, isn't it? Yeah, you cannot disclose if a person had AIDS that lived in the house.
And
Or if a
not to
person-
belittle what AIDS is, but it's the same thing. The more common question that we get is, hey Paige, how are the schools in Indian Hills? Well, there's one right over there. I think there's a website that you can get that information for. You can say, my kids went there, they loved it, but get your own information, right? So very interesting how these come up and what comes across my desk. And I've been getting questions on right to request repair. What does that mean? What is a defect? So we've done classes on it here often. Sherry just did one, a month ago, and I still get the questions. So it's right there. So you'll see 2 numbers. This is where people mess up a lot. There's 2 numbers. So if I say it's a 7 days to get the property inspected, and then I have, say, 3 more days to receive or present what I want fixed, if it's a defect, right? And for them to say whether they're gonna do it or not. So if it's 7 and 3, the numbers are actually 7 and 10. It reads 10 days from binding, okay, not 3 days from the inspection period. Okay. So, a couple of things. I'm always available. I answer my phone on the weekends, even on Saturday night at 8:30. Because I can't believe, I was like, that's what my job is. I'm here to help.
Rob, can I just add to it?
Yes.
So the agent never disclosed anything, as you all said it. He didn't need to disclose. So he never disclosed. The only way that I came across was when I was writing the contract up. I went to public records and pulled up the name of the seller, Googled the seller just so I can kind of find out what's going on. And there's a video of this particular situation where somebody was murdered. And the person who shot the person was the owner, and he is currently incarcerated. So there was a video that was on Google or on the websites that was forwarded to my client immediately, because I felt ethically that since I know, like Karen said, I don't know if I could sleep that night if I don't know what's happening. So I just wanted you guys to know that.
And that's what Karen's point was, if we don't have to, right? But especially in a townhouse community, you're sharing driveways and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you gonna see that spot where you're cleaning in the driveway? Fred was laying there about 6 months ago and there was yellow tape around. So.
Well, it's an interesting subject, and the reason it's called stigmatized property is because I could care less if someone died in the house. I could care less. That does not bother me, but if it bothers you, that's why it's called a stigmatized property, because it will affect some people, not others. Now, if someone murdered their mother-in-law and their 10 adult kids, that would probably bother me. I want to know that. But just so you're clear, as a buyer's agent, if you know that you have to disclose it, As a buyer's agent, do you tell your buyer that? You ever do you tell them that? What do you all think?
If they have a bunch of, you said a bunch of murders
No,
or
no,
one?
whatever the issue is, if you know someone was died in that house, do you have a duty to tell your
Yes.
buyer?
Yes, we learned to tell them.
What?
It's L
If they
caveat
ask me, yes, I would tell them.
Yes.
And that's just the end of it.
And what does that mean?
Rule of
Buyer
the
beware.
state.
Buyer beware.
That's right.
What did Pete say?
Caveat emptor means
L-
buyer beware.
Buyer beware, and that's how we operate in the state of Georgia. You know, and if it's on Google, that's kind of like public record, it used to be, you know, I mean, if you're not representing your client properly, in my opinion, if you don't Google everybody that's in the transaction. I mean, the first thing we do when we get offers in is Google the buyer.
And the address.
And the
Paige,
The property address.
Paige, not to date you, okay, or myself, right?
Yeah,
But
Are you single?
I can see you, bro.
Yeah, sorry, man, sorry. So, when I first got in the business, right, and my dad was a home inspector, right? Well, yeah, he's gonna kill every deal, right? This is back in the early '90s. It was exactly that, caveat emptor, right? We only have due diligence, how many years ago? Maybe 10, 15 years ago it was added? But it was always a right to request repairs because it's up to the buyer. It's always up to the buyer.
And Paige's right that legally you have no obligation. Are you a fiduciary agent for your clients?
No.
Who says yes? Who doesn't know?
There's a
The
white.
answer is no, you're not.
Fiduciary.
State of Georgia, you
You're
have
no
no
longer
fiduciary
fiduciary.
relationship to either one of your clients, zero.
There's a Seth
And
Western
that's
video
fact,
about
guys,
that.
you do not.
Yeah, that just came out.
Which means you have to always act in their best
Yeah,
interest.
Sherry sent it.
Because I'm gonna just go back to what Karen said. It's like, you don't have to, but if your client looks at you after closing and goes, were you aware that someone died in this house? What are your options if you know?
Tell the truth or
Tell the truth or
lie.
lie.
Yeah.
And guys, you have to decide that, and I'm not telling you what to do because the law protects you, right, Paige? The law protects you. I'm not telling you what to do, but I mean, certainly if I knew it for a fact, I probably would tell my client, that's just me, that's the way it is, because I would want them to know. Now, as the agent for the seller, you have the same obligation. The answer is no unless you are what? Asked. Great question there, Bob, that was really, really good of me. All right, guys, let's move on. Chris Van Zandt, come on up here with me, if you would, please. Let's give Chris a hand. And this is my dressing up like Chris outfit. He's been wearing this outfit for a while. But guys, well, we're gonna start this morning with a question. How do you see the market right now? We had the same discussion in our AOC last week, guys. So tell me how you see the market. Let's start with you, Chris.
Well,
How do you see the market right now?
Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market right now?
It depends on the price range.
It's a trick question. It's both. It's location and price range. We're gonna see that today. Depending on what you're doing, where you're selling, even within a neighborhood, within an area, it's different. We just had, was it James Shaw? If you're on Instagram, go to NAR Research and favorite that and see the information. I had a client ask me yesterday, he's like, so I hear the market's collapsing. And I go, interesting, where did you hear that? On the nightly news. So the nightly news on the ABC, NBC, wherever else, CNN, who knows what, is telling you a national story. Your job is to know your story of your neighborhood and where you live, right? So I took it and said, where we're looking, here's what's happening in your price point, in your search area, and change the conversation. He wanted to sit and wait and start lowballing houses thinking they were gonna drop. I said, that's not what we're seeing, your price point below $300,000. By changing the narrative. So NAR Research on Instagram, favorite that. Was it James, you were there working on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, it's your job to educate your clients about what's going on, not the national media. And when someone asks, it's your job to give them the truth and explain to them that yes, they're right, or no, they're wrong, and how and why. So if you do that, they trust you and they ask you more questions and they use you. Simple enough, right?
So,
And he mentioned this morning on today's call that the Wall Street Journal just said nobody's buying houses.
Oh, no, nobody's selling houses.
Nobody's selling, yeah, nobody's selling,
Yeah.
because they don't know where they're gonna go because of the interest rate.
Yep. So NAR just posted something the other day, the top 5 cities with, I guess, prices going up are all in the South.
and you want the top 3?
Atlanta,
Atlanta,
Charlotte.
Sandy Springs, and Marietta. Top 3. Top 3. I think NAR actually calls it, Lawrence calls it, the cities to watch. Top 3 are right here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I have the same question. Who wants to venture how they see the market right now? Good, bad, or different? Because there's no wrong answer. How do you see the market right now? Who's it going to see? And there's no wrong answer right now, guys. There's not one.
There's not. It just depends on what area of town you're shopping in. You'll go to an area that is hot, and they get multiple offers, but they only get 3. Or you'll go to a different one and they'll get multiple offers, but they're getting 15. And then, this is pretty much true all along. If the house is not super sharp, it could sit for a while.
Okay. Does anybody in here have a house that's sitting for a while? Anybody? All right, tell me more about your house, Susan. Tell me what city? I know this house. Which one are you talking about? But tell us about it.
It's in Roswell. It's I don't know, I'm baffled. So it's.
What is sitting for a while? Because honestly, a week ago was sitting for a while last year, and now.
I think we're a day 120, I believe.
Yeah.
Price point?
Price point.
But it's 1.6.
Oh, there we go.
Right, so, and I do see the properties over $1 million taking longer, but not all of them.
What should we price that at? Is it priced right?
And that's.
I would say not, that it's not.
Right.
No.
That's I think
No,
so
it
too.
is not priced right. If it's been on the market that long, it is not
That's
priced
where I
right.
was going with it.
Yeah.
And so I understand that, because are most houses, which we're gonna see in a few minutes, are most houses that are priced right, are they selling?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the question, that's the answer. So guys, I want us to look at this metro market overview, because this gives you perspective. Guys, I want you to have information, Chris and I do, that you can say, well, that's interesting, because here's what I know from looking at the facts. So Chris, you wanna go over a few of these like active listings?
Sure. So before we dive into this, the one thing is you can't look back at the last few years of numbers. 2020, 21, 2022 aren't real historical data because it is such a different market. Whether it was pre, in, after, et cetera, COVID, everything was skewed. So when we look back at the numbers and try to compare apples to apples, we can't. We can't say things are this. So we have to look back to years we're using are 2016 to 2019, kind of go back before all that to see where we stand. Who was in the business in 2016, 2017, 2018? Raise your hand. Okay. Were you doing well? Were you happy then?
Yes.
Okay, you were succeeding. So the question becomes, if we're rolling back to those numbers and you were happy you're achieving then, keep that mindset now. Change your mindset. Yes, you crushed it the last few years and you had big numbers, but those numbers in 2018 gave you the life you deserved and wanted. That's still a good thing. So that's the big takeaway from you.
And I will remind y'all one more time, guys, that I keep hearing, we crushed it in 2021. We crushed it. Yet only 30% of our agents passed. Guys, that's 1.7 million in sales, and that is not any incredible living.
Correct.
So guys, number one office right
That's
now.
fair.
We're number 1 or 2 back then. In our office, 30% of agents capped. So was everybody crushing it back then?
No.
The answer is no, they were not. They were not. So anyway, I want to give y'all a fact. All right, Chris, go over where the listings were number-wise in those 2 years.
Sure. In 2016, in April 2016, we had 14,000 listings. In April 2019, 14,000 listings. This April, 5,448 listings.
All right, someone who was there during 2016, 2019, tell me how the market felt with 14,000 listings. Who was there? Tell me how it felt. Andrew, were you there? Then how did it feel, Andrew, in those years with 14,000 listings?
Well, 16 and 19 had around the same number, but they were not the same market. The number of buyers in 19 was much higher. So it was starting to be hotly contested, in that January of 2020, the market had already started. So like you're looking at 19 flowing into 20. January, the market had already started being very competitive. 19 had a lot of, had multiple offers in those situations. In 16, it was a little different because you had a good market, but we were, that had become the new normal of coming out of the shift, right? So it had been a few years since we were out of the shift. We were about 3 years out of the shift, and we had started to get back to seasonality of real estate.
Seasonality, great question.
It was more of a balance there.
All right, say it one more time. It was a what kind of market?
It was more balanced in 16. 19 was where it's really started to flow towards the seller's market. We turned the faucet off March of 20, but all that pressure built up, and when we turned the faucet back on, that's what shot us 2020 to 2022. So even though it was similar inventory levels, those 16 and 19 were totally different markets as well.
Interesting, 16 was our best year ever. 17 was our what? Best year ever. 18 was our what? Best year ever. 19 was our what? Best year ever. 20, our best year ever. 2021, our best year ever. 22, not so. So Chris, how do you look at them? Now we have 5,400 listings. How do you see that, Chris?
So this goes back to a James Shaw thing again. It's if you're farming and paying attention to your sphere, capturing listings is everything because there aren't enough out there, right? But it's your choice to find and make them. So at the end of the day, you say there are no houses selling. We said, right, there's nothing selling anymore. Houses are selling. There are listings. There are sold. There are pending. Things are happening. Question is, are you taking steps and strategies to learn how to do those things? If you put your head in the sand and say nothing's happening, then nothing will happen. You're going to manifest that. So for me, and Mason and I in our business, we're actually prospecting to find those listings. Because when we find them, the goal was then hopefully get a buyer from that listing as well and pick up 2 transactions, right? So we still focus on listings even though they're not out there anymore, right? Pending numbers actually track similar. 9,900 in 2016, 9,000 in 2019, and we're down to 5,751 in the current market right now.
Yeah, so someone is out there selling real estate right now because respectfully, someone's grandpa, they're still needing to get out of their house for whatever reason. Someone's having a baby and they're in an apartment and they need to get a house, guys. So that is still going on out there. Now, and guys, look at the number sold. This, and think what this says. And with 14,000 listings, we sold 46, and this is Metro Atlanta only, guys. 4,600 listings in 16. We sold around Metro Atlanta about 5,000 on 2019, and this year 3,300. So what do these things tell you right here? What does that tell you right there?
It's still selling.
Pardon me?
Still selling.
Things are selling. I agree with that. What else does it tell you?
I think percentage wise, like the ratio, like we're selling more than we have available. Cause like 4,600 closed versus 14,000 listings is very different than 3,300 closed versus 5,400 listings.
So it's competitive.
Yeah.
It's a higher absorption rate because
Yes.
before it was 9,000 into 14, right? And now it's more are pending than are actually even on the market, so it absorbs quicker.
Well, when you're right there, it's supply in months. 3 months, 2.8, 1.6. It's basically half from 2016 till now.
And look at that sales price too, like the amount of like
246 to
growth
435.
is insane.
Yeah, that's huge.
So the biggest challenge I have with some of my clients is they saw what their neighbors did in that gap right there,
Yeah.
and go, why don't I get that? Well, their neighbors got, 100 showings and 50 offers, that's great. You only need one showing, you only need one showing, one offer, right? So at the end of the day, if you educate them what their actual price should be, and you get that, you deliver it. They see their neighbor with it out the driveway, and they had lined up, the cars lined up, and it created this cool visual experience for Facebook and Instagram that look at what my house did. That's great, well, the price they get's what matters the most, not the picture they get from people lined up.
Rich, what do you say to your clients when they say, Rich, why can't we get what our neighbor got across the street? He got $750 last year, now you're telling me $675. How do you talk? Because Rich is also an appraiser, right, Rich? What do you tell them?
Well, we run into it, that's really a constant. That run-up that we experienced for anybody that's been in this business any length of time is unprecedented from January through, let's call it June of last year. We all knew it could not be sustained, and we knew that it was so hyperinflationary that you really have to sit back and ask yourself, what the heck is going on? Okay, this is insane. And it was. What we're experiencing right now, nobody predicted, okay? And you're seeing pockets where it's like May of last year, okay? It's ridiculous. Go to an open house and you're standing in line, like we said we would never do after May of last year. Then you have other situations that we talked about that it's overpriced and you have to look at your price points and whatnot. Interesting article, you're talking about the Wall Street and whatnot, just came out, and that is that we're looking at something that is unprecedented in our lifetimes, and that is people having, we're talking about 70% of homeowners, mortgages up 3% or less. Now think about that, that's a 30-year note you have. And so what their article was saying is, hey, you know what? We might be looking at long-term, a dearth of homes to sell, right? Long-term. So now you have an artificial element that's inflating your market. Particularly if you have decent employment going on, and then you have in-migration, which we have here, both of which. So I don't know, I used to think just several months ago that, maybe the pundits are right. Late fall, we're probably looking at a recession, could be severe. I don't see that with this housing factor, it's not gonna go away. In fact, more people might take their homes off the market. I don't think you're gonna have a huge number of people losing their jobs. And we have the opposite of 08, low inventory. 08, we were just loaded with new homes and everything going on.
Don't forget, we have low inventory in 08, we also have what? A lot more people have moved in last since 08. So we have more people looking for fewer houses, which actually.
And people owe less money too.
So I actually fall in that category. We have a rate in the 3s, and we're not gonna move because of that. But we will move when our kids get out of the house.
Pain.
So what?
Pain makes you move.
Pain makes you move.
Yeah.
You're right about
So
that.
like you're then gonna have an empty house. So why would you
Well,
want
it's
to
one,
stay?
it's one of the many things. It's death, divorce, birth, all those things.
All the Ds.
It's all the Ds. So for us, we'll have kids leave the house and we want to downsize. But for now, there's no point in that. We got a rate in the 3s. Why would we downsize just to do it? So, but in 4 years, when our daughter's off to college, that's when we'll probably sell our house. So what you do is you learn from your friends the ages of their kids. You plug it in your CRM and learn what their family trajectory is. I think you taught this in Lyft at some point or something like that, that if you learn that someone in 2 years are leaving Walton, oh, guess what? You keep following up, so when they graduate Walton, you go, hey, what's the next step? What do you guys plan on next after Susie graduates from Walton? Where do you guys go? You're gonna follow her to North Carolina? You're gonna watch her play lacrosse? Or are you gonna stay here? What's your goals next? And all you're doing is having a conversation with people and asking what do they want to do, what do they want to achieve? And in the process, you might learn their timeline. And then you follow up.
Are you also month supply 3, 2, 1.5, going in the wrong direction, guys. Going in the wrong direction, okay? This one blew me away. 246, 290, 435. 435, you all. I mean, my first subdivision 4 years ago in East Cobb, the houses were $100,000. New houses, maybe 125. That's changed, what hasn't it? And then you look at median days in the market. Chris, you wanna go through that?
Sure, it was 33, then 27, then 38. Why do you think it's higher? Why do we have a higher days on market?
Pricing, lower pricing.
Lower pricing, right? That's how I view it anyway.
They're pricing it like it's last
They're
year.
pricing it like it's last year, 2021, and they're being greedy, and agents aren't educating, agents still want the sign in the ground, and that's all that matters to them. It's not having a conversation, because this makes no sense if the rest of these numbers are the way they are, right? We have less of everything, why are the days higher? Because you're not having a hard conversation with your seller and saying, this is what we're looking at.
This is why it's so important what Supreme is doing, to have the tough conversations. It's a standoff at a lot of houses because they're thinking last year, they don't do this. They just saw the last house that sold. And I mean, I looked at one today in Atlanta Country Club. In the last year, only one in this part of it, it's a smaller part of it, has sold in the last year. So I know this guy's gonna be thinking that number from last year, right? Well, I'm gonna have a fierce conversation.
Are you also, when we look at price reductions, in order to get a house sold, in 16, we had to reduce it about 35% of the time. Here, they reduced it 38, almost 39%, and we're back to 36.2%. So less seller price reductions right now pressure. Failed listings, what does it mean when there's a failed listing? What does that mean, you all?
Expires.
It didn't sell, they didn't sell. So back in 19, 24.4% of them, 25.8 in 19, and now only 20% of them are failing, but that is actually still pretty low, guys. So, and of course, distress sales are what? Almost what? Why is that? Why is that? Why no distress sales?
Because we don't have foreclosures at this point, because jobs are high, the jobs number, I always say, start with that, jobs number is good. So we have high employment, we don't have people losing their jobs and not being able to become immediately employed again, and that's the key to it. In our area, we have a lot of people losing their jobs in the tech industry in Atlanta. They can find 4 other jobs the next day. So it's okay. And the age group that are purchasing homes, which is no longer the first time home buyer, they can think that their employment was long-term if they were there 3 years. It's a different set of rules and regulations. But I have to say something, I'm busting.
What say if you're busting?
I don't remember the last time we had a price reduction. And I don't remember the last time we did not have multiple offers on our listings. So I feel like I'm
Smart agent.
Lucky.
Well, you're comfortable having a fierce conversation.
I know, I'm just saying.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, yesterday, we put 2 houses on the market Thursday, and yesterday we had, the 2 multiple offer spreadsheets out with the stacks of offers that came in, and we're able to select with the seller which one to take. And one of them was the ugliest, worst house I've been in many, many years.
But you
It was bad.
But you priced it based on it being an ugly worst house you've been in for years.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Ugly worst houses still sell if it's priced right. There's still somebody who can find a way, they need a home to live in. Who bought it? Did an investor buy it to fix and flip it? Did you know?
No, and then we got slapped with, we found out that it was a rental restricted neighborhood in West Cobb, which would be so anyway, they're having it inspected right now, we're selling it as is. I may be coming in here next week saying I've got one. But I mean, we haven't seen any of that.
Paige, I think the difference though between you and a lot of agents that are licensed actively right now, not at Quan, of course, because we're the best. But the difference is you have standards and you're also not afraid to stand up for like the truth, you know? And you have these hard conversations, but it's like, you take great photos, you stage your listings, you market it properly, you market it to your database, like you price it right from the get-go so that you don't have to have price reduction, so you do incite multiple offers, so you have many showings in the first weekend, like, you know, it's not luck, you do it right. You know, and your track record proves it. Not to like toot your horn, but.
I will tell you, if you take an overpriced listing, you know better, you are what? Out what, Rob? Scripted.
Yeah.
That's right. You're out scripted. You know what to say to tell that seller, no, I will not take that $100,000 at a price. Or maybe you will take it with certain restrictions.
A lot of times when I have to have awkward conversations with my clients, I usually try to frame it to let them know, if I lie to you, right, to make this sound like what you want, you're gonna find out, right? Because it's not gonna sell, we're not gonna get offers. So I may as well tell you the truth. You will get someone that will tell you what you wanna hear, but you may waste a lot of time when you could have just listened to the truth, you know? So
I agree with that.
So I use people have heard it before, different things, the ball rolling down the hill is what I use for clients, pricing the house wrong. I think Mason's watching, he helped me with this or taught me this. When you're a kid chasing a ball, right, and it's rolling downhill, you're going after it, you go to grab it. You go to reach for it, where's the ball? Further down the hill. And you keep going and going and going. That's pricing your house wrong. You price your house wrong, and it keeps going and going and going. The way to capture the ball running the hill is run in front of it, and you may get a chance to walk towards it. That's pricing your house correctly. So I ask my clients, do you want to chase the ball or catch the ball? If you chase it, you might never catch it. That's a failed listing, right? If you know you're going to price it right, we're going to get the price, we're going to price the market will give us. End of story. Not a promised price, not a I guarantee 550 or 600. The market's going to pay what the market's willing to bear. And it might always be price, it might be terms. You don't know what your clients need, right? Occupancy. Be the best chance to get what your clients need if you do price it right and have a hard conversation right away. And use an analogy. Do you want to chase or do you want to catch it? And no one wants to chase because it's frustrating and defeating. So at the end of that, it works for me.
Do you have that right agent, wrong price chart? You remember the one? Oh, that one tells that story.
There's just so much good to see, guys. So I also think you have to look last year and this year. So when you look last year, number of active of 4292. Now the number of active are 5,448. Is that going in the right direction?
Yes.
We'll see. All right, Chris, you'll go over them pendings.
Pending. Last year 7,643. We're down to 5751.
Think about that.
24.8% lower. So active listings are basically 27% higher. Pendings are 25% lower. What's the time frame? Year over year, April 2022.
Last year, April, which I think is important for us to look at, guys. And then pending ratio, we see that. What about number sold, Chris?
In 2022, we had 4770. Now we have 3302, which is a 30% drop.
And by the way, in our office, our business is down 30% from last year. 30%, guys. Does that tell you a story right here? Yeah. And we still are the number one office in Atlanta for Keller Williams with most listings, number of listings, and number of sold units. So we're following a whole lot, okay? Failed listings, look at that, guys. Chris, you look at that.
Went from 10.9% to 20.4%. That's a huge increase.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that there's less inventory, that basically doubled. I shouldn't say double because it's a different ratio, but
supply of listings is what, Chris?
From 0.9, from basically 9 months to 1.6.
No, 0.9 months.
0.9, sorry, 0.9 to 1.6 months.
And then this one, at least, we're gonna talk about all this, guys, and look at this. Last year, median original list price was $429, now it's $449, which tells us our house is dropping like flies and everyone's losing equity in their house. NBC News said that not long ago.
But look at the next line though.
Yeah.
So agents are listing prices higher, excuse me, I stuttered, but then they're selling it for lower.
Right.
By about less than 1%. So that's
But like,
pretty
if
good.
you look at like the median list price,
Uh-huh.
original price, and then the median sales price,
So those who can't see, medium sales price went from 438 to basically 435.
Right.
So the question becomes, what you're saying, if you have a good conversation, you're not actually dropping that price, right?
Yeah.
So Chris, to your point at the very beginning with the conversations that you're having and to, some of the comments that Rich had, previously everyone was saying it can't sustain this, right? It's going too fast, it's too high, there's too great of a rate. In that moment, we were telling our clients the same thing. This can't sustain, right? The rate of increase was too high.
Yeah.
Because the rate of increase slowed down, doesn't mean that value fell.
Correct.
So if it's going up at 18%, now it's going up at 3 or 5%.
4 or 5% is still making money.
That's still an increase. So our rate going way high, and then slowing down, that doesn't mean the value dropped. It means that it's not increasing. It's not increasing at the same rate, okay? So that's the conversation. And when you're sitting in that room and they say, why can't I get what my neighbor got last year? Well, you can't. You can't get X plus plus. You can't get greedy. You have to,
You can't get greedy.
you can cash in on what the market has done for you. If you think that you're X plus plus, you're gonna be a failed listing or you're gonna chase that ball down.
Well, so when you look at this, when you look that active listings are up, pendings are down, solds are down, fails are up, what does that tell you in this room about the market right now? Mike, what does it tell you?
Tells me I'm so glad I'm not a residential real estate. It's interesting to sit back and listen. Maybe it's the general homeowner hasn't come to reality, has not realized that.
True. Either as the agent.
Not every agent. It is interesting to be fly on the wall to hear different comments. From Paige's perspective of, as Amanda was saying, is the reality check people need to hear is, I'd love to get X dollars in my neighborhood if I could sell. My wife and I are empty nesters and we got way too much house, but we can't go anywhere. But the reality is we can sell, but we can't buy because we would double our interest rate.
Can I ask that question too? That's always been the biggest thing for me being outside of the market and looking into trying to get into business. It's how does that work? So say, you're gonna sell your home for X amount of, $800,000 and you pay, but you're gonna have to turn around and pay the same price if you wanna be in the same area or in the same market. Like, what do you tell your customers, or how does that really
I say,
work?
did you stay in the house, or why do you want to move?
Yeah, what's the why?
Why do you want to move? What's the reason we're talking today?
Yeah.
When you get to the bottom of that, that's what drives the future conversation. If you don't know that, you're just spitting in the wind.
Can I say one opportunity for every, because I always talk lead gen, right? So, you know what I see?
Opportunity?
I see 20% double the amount from last year of failed listings, and sellers are saying, help me, Lord, I need someone who's gonna help me sell that house. They had a sign in the front yard, they failed, they packed up, cleaned the garage, had people coming through their home, so they want to sell. They just need the right agent. So I would be, for me, if I was back in full-time production, be all over the expired withdrawals.
How many agents know their numbers as far as their days on market, or their, average price of, list price to sales price? Do you guys know that? You should.
Yeah.
You should know that. When someone asks you a question or your listing appointment and that question's asked and you and Mike drop, hopefully some good numbers, it changes the conversation because now you're good at your job, right?
And very respectfully, and then we'll come back to you, Mike, very respectfully, Rob, 20% of 14,000 failed listings, or 14,019, is not the same opportunity as 20% of 5,000. So is there, and are there more agents now, or more agents back in 2019? Now, is that right? So is there more competition for those few failed listings?
Yeah.
By far. And what do we have teams doing now? To have someone paid to do what? Call. So is there more competition? Mike, did you finish? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say one thing, from a commercial perspective, yes, the Wall Street Journal article, I read that in New York Times, I go back and forth. That same article that I read, they quoted reasons why people can't sell homes. Interest rates are too high, the buying side is more challenging than the selling side. But if you zoom out, keep in mind that Wall Street Journal also had an article that 35% of the American workforce has now gone remote. I have two sons who are millennials, and it's frightening what my oldest pays for a Brooklyn apartment, but he cannot move, but his job is remote. He took me up to, he's in 4 World Trade Center. Spotify, who has over 500,000 square feet, they signed a lease in 2019. They are in the subleasing market right now. Also, when you take 35%, of our country's workforce, that generation is going to make that shift. So if somebody wants to sell a 3-2 in Marietta, you're going to find a young couple in Arizona who may be happy to live in Cobb County because they know it's a fine school system. So, that's one thing I do encourage you, when you're talking to a client, tell them to zoom away from their home and look at what the national economy is doing. The national economy, I think, is going to keep y'all very busy for the next 2 years.
Agreed. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a question, and I experienced this on one of my listings, and I talked to a colleague who had the same thing. I feel like last year you list on a Thursday, and then Sunday all your offers are in, and Monday you pick the best one. So all your best offers are that first weekend on market. So I assumed that. I took an offer. It was full price. We had multiple, but only one was decent at all. And then 2 days later, we got another one for $15,000 over list price when we had already signed the contract. And I have another colleague, and she said a very similar thing happened. So I don't know if you guys are changing your strategy. Is Thursday still the day to list? How are we handling that?
I still do that.
Okay.
I'm still Thursday, pick one on Monday with the ones that are priced right, and I know are priced right.
So would you have done the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't know what offers another offer might never come. You were lucky 15th, lucky or unlucky, then you look at it, one came in later. If that never came, where would you be in another week? Now that the house in the market for 10 days, 14, 21, 30. I educate my clients, what we have right now is this. Is this what you want? Back to what they want. If the number that you got achieves what their goals are, why would you not sign that? You're done. You move forward. That's my opinion.
Right, and then that one that's also over asking, what were the terms, because a lot of contracts are falling through, so even if
Make
you're
them be a backup.
presenting 15,000 more, they could have been, just a fluke anyway. So, that's one thing, and then in terms of listing it, what I recommend to do is do coming soon. I did that with my most recent listing in Alpharetta, and that really prepared people and the buyers, and the marketing was huge on that because it lined up the buyers agents to and their buyers to come to the open house Saturday and Sunday, and because it was Mother's Day, I did the open house Saturday as well, and it created an influx of marketing so that I could avoid that didn't miss anyone that didn't get to put their offer in by the time that we called highest and best Sunday evening. And we're under contract in 3 days. We're 8% over asking, and it's above $1 million in Alpharetta.
That's awesome.
So So like Mike was saying, well, he's gone now. I think he's correct that what I noticed at the open house, there were buyers that were completely in some other market. Like they were like, I had one offer for under asking. This agent is not, training her buyer at all or showing stats because they came in like $125,000 below asking for an offer. And then I had other people, unrepresented buyers that were like, call me. I'm like, okay, sure. Call them up after the open house. I'm like, okay, so what do you want to offer? Like, if you were to make an offer on this house, what do you want to do? So again, below asking. So I directly told that buyer, I think you're wasting your time. I think you're going to be wasting your agent's time that you're going to be working with, because that's not the market. You know, the market is showing us, and that we are, you know, there's no supply, and I don't think you're a serious buyer. If you want to, you know, become a serious buyer, then you need to understand the market. So the offers we had were people who have been in the market for 2 years and understood that they don't need to mess around if they want a house. And the other two were people from out of state. We had people from Chicago, we had people from Miami, so people are still moving in. And I feel like whether they understand the market or not, they still love what they're getting here in this house.
Okay, well, let's move on through the stats, because we're running out of time. If we talk about everything on here, pretty much.
Yeah, days on market went from 8 to 20.
Which is interesting. Anything else y'all got? Now, let's look just briefly at the condos, because the condo market is a little bit different market. Number of active listings, 1,000 last April, it's almost 1,800 right now. Number of pending listings, 2,600, dropped down to 1,900. Pending ratio, 71.6%, now it's 52.3%. Number sold, 1,400 down to 997. Failed 8% to 20%. Month supply 0.8 to 1.8. I'm sorry. Original list price is $330, now it's $359. Sales price is $341,960, and now it's $350. It's up a little bit. And days of the market went from 8 to 21. What does that tell you about the condo market? Hey, what does it tell you about the condo market?
I was listening, but I have a feeling it's slower than the regular market.
I'm like an old teacher, I still do those kind of tricks. Who also like to talk about the condo market? What do you see out there? Ivan, what do you see there, but as far as the condo market?
Jim.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, Grace, I'm sorry, why did I say Grace, I'm sorry.
I don't know about the stats, but from what I experienced is a lot of the HOAs, fees have gone up, including the interest rate. So the condos are still keeping their prices fairly low compared to sell them.
Yeah, and it's also on the other side, because the folks who are in that market are getting priced out when you factor in their payment because of the higher HOA fees, what they used to be able to afford. That combined with the interest rate, that's no longer a really good fit for some of these younger folks who are thinking smaller with smaller price points.
I agree, but all my townhome buyers are basically switched to single family.
Yeah, they can't afford it.
We talked to Reed and we went on the numbers, and all of a sudden you add that $200 a month HOA, they're like, well, I can't do this anymore.
And 200 is good these days.
Ivan, what do you think?
I agree with everybody. I have a client too. Between HOA and interest, it's just making it tough with a lot of contact.
Because all the fees are doing, as Grace said, they're doing what?
Going up.
They're going up because cost of living is doing what? Going up, is that correct, Jeff?
Can I add?
Sure.
I'm licensed in Florida too, but that business is not doing so great, as good as Atlanta, and it is only because of HOA. After the storms, the HOA here is candy compared to Florida. It's minimum $600 for a very ordinary place, $1,000 to $1,500 in good condos anywhere near water, anywhere not even close to water. But HOAs are devastating right now in Florida. And the $1 million, people who wanted to buy it, and that's what's holding them back. So HOAs have just crushed it.
The insurance industry.
Insurance rates, because of the storm.
Exactly right, so is there, if you're gonna go out and look for some new business, is there some, maybe some places here where you could lead generate some from this?
Yeah,
And the answer is you
definitely.
probably could, okay, guys? All right, what else we have? Kimberly's at the last slide.
Go to the market.
All right, so Chris, take a quick peek at this and tell me what you see where there's a stellar market. And by the way, what is a balanced market?
6 months of inventory.
6 months is what it says, but it's supposed to be. So anyway, here's, go through this, and what's the seller's market right now?
So this is of course, looking at Atlanta, the 8 counties in Metro Atlanta. So it's your job to know your neighborhood, your market, your county. But from below 100,000 to basically $2 million, it's still a seller's market. It shifts the balance from 2 to 3, and then over 3, it becomes a buyer's market again. Okay? But your job is to figure out where your clients fall, and then where they're looking, and then run some stats and some numbers to figure out, is it truly, where does it fall on their personal search, right? If it's Paulding County, it's entirely different than looking here in East Cobb, right? So, I mean, the numbers have basically gone, it's 4.3 wants to supply under $100,000. I kind of looked into this and for the attached as well. Any idea why if that number is so high? It's conditionally you have to fall apart. Look at 100,000 less into a search, they're falling apart. The pool of buyers looking for that is just basically your investors or your fixer flippers. It can't be a homeowner because they can't, the house is gonna fall apart. Then once we got out of that price point, you all of a sudden see above 150, but it shifts to a basically a single family home that can raise a family in. It goes from 1.7 all the way up to 3 months, 3.9 to $2 million.
Guys, it's still
A
a
lot
solid
of that
market.
is new
What'd you
construction.
say?
A lot of that is new construction, so it's very skewed.
It skews the higher numbers.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't thought about that page, okay, all right, is that our last slide? We have one more.
The attached, yeah.
All right, so buyer's market,
But buyer, search that, that's amazing. I just did an FMLS search, like 34 under 100,000, and they're garbage. So it's the same thing, they're all trash. So I love when clients call me and say, hey, I'm looking at this number for opportunities, and like,
right,
what kind of opportunity do you really want to have? This is not what you think it is. This is not HGTV, walking in, painting new carpet. This is, you're doing a whole remodel. So, and then it's a seller, this one's a seller's market, all the way up to 900. It flips to buyer, balance, and then back to buyer, again, above 1.5 million.
guys, are there still some opportunities out there?
In every market there is.
Of course, definitely.
It's in every market there's opportunities. It's how you do your job, it's how you show up.
So you all, a lot of new information happened this morning. I like what, I think Paige said, but is the job market still great?
Yeah.
Okay. And so guys, what do you see out there that could hurt this market? I know we're over time, but we won't think, you need to go, yes, ma'am.
I'm having issues with appraisals coming in low.
Would
Am I the
accept
only
an offer
one?
with an appraisal contingent.
Well, I got lucky and didn't have an appraisal contingency, thank God, but it just seems like a pattern for me lately.
Okay.
If interest rates keep going back up again.
Yeah,
Say it one more time.
That'll kill us.
Higher rent.
I like that one. What else? And when we finish in 5 minutes, I promise you, what else? What worries you in the down economy?
Nothing.
Well, I don't like the build to rent.
You don't like the what?
First time build to rent is, I hate that, because first time home buyers are just they just keep buying.
Okay. I like that.
Build to rent.
What else? Yes, ma'am. Amanda?
I think it's less about like what's going on in Atlanta and like more what's going on like in between my ears. And it's like a mindset issue, and ever since, well, maybe not with my mindset, I'm okay. I haven't been under contract right now, I'm doing all right. But, thankfully. But I thought about it since we talked about it in ALC, right? Like, is this a good market? What's going on in the market? And it really depends on who are you talking to, right? So how are they lead generating? Are they consistent with their lead generation? And do they have enough leads coming in that it's okay if they lose a few, right? Because like people are gonna fall off, people are gonna change their mind. It's not always the right time for somebody to sell, right? It's not always the right time for somebody to buy if they don't have enough money saved or, rates or whatever, it doesn't always make sense for them. But to be able to say, you know what, that's okay, I'm gonna keep up with you, we're gonna put you in the pipeline for six months, you're a nurture now. You're no longer an active lead, you're a nurture. But like, when you don't have enough leads coming in, every single lead, you hold on to it. So I think it depends on what are we doing, like, cause I mean, I say this statistic all the time and I always forget it, but how many agents lead generate every week?
less than 5%.
Okay. So like,
Even once a month.
I wanna be that 5%.
You need to be in the script practicing lead gen room. If you're an agent that's looking for business and needs to find something or create something, if you're not in that room, you're losing out. I started off being in that room years ago. I was learning every day from other agents in the same boat I was. Sometimes successful agents came in who just wanted refresher and conversation. I mean, the plenty of times Eric would pop in a couple days and just have some conversations, and I learned something from him, and I could take it to my client. If you're not doing that basic task, what are you doing?
And I think it's important too, like coming into the office and being present, because like, even like walking by like the new agent, like little room with like all the desks, it's like, I'm able to just like pop in and I hear these like higher level conversations. It's like, man, I wish I had those at 4 months, you know, like that's amazing. And so like, I know Paige is upstairs and Brenda Bashir is upstairs. So it's like, if I have a question, I can come upstairs. You know, I know Rob's in his office, Jim's in his office, you know.
So I heard something this past week from one of our commercial guys, but I knew about that, I don't really thought about it. And that's the amount of office vacancies we have right now. They're astronomically high. And so you take someone that owns the building, well then let's refinance it. Are they gonna refinance it lower or probably higher? Probably higher. So they can't refinance it and make it get a better deal for this office tower sitting there that's basically, I wish Mike were here, I don't know what the rate is, but they say it's high for offices right now. People are not going back to offices like they were before. So that one scares me in the short run, but it's a great answer though in the long run. What they're gonna do with the vacant offices?
Turn them into apartments.
Say it one more time.
Turn them into apartments.
Or into.
Condominiums.
And that could be the thing that would give us our what? Inventory and lower end solutions. But you know what the top of that is?
Zoning.
Zoning costs to do what? Redo them.
Rebuild the house.
What'd you say? Exactly right. They got so- so got-
It's zoning. I mean, we talked about this, but it's zoning. And you would think that you could go commercial, residential without any problems at all, but that's not true because the infrastructure for residential is entirely different than the infrastructure for commercial.
I'm on the planning and zoning board for Cherokee County, and that is dead on accurate. Each county has a guideline of what they want the county to look like and how they want it to be shaped in the right way. You can't just all of a sudden change commercial residential in the heart of a certain area. It'll never happen. And as a board, we won't allow it, because if you do, you go in Pandora's box and change the world, and your job is to have controlled growth and sustained growth, not chaotic growth. Chaotic growth just creates problems in the long run.
Well, and with those spots, we gotta figure out how to have housing for people that are below $250,000. We have to. And maybe the answer is they gotta move to Marion, Virginia, where average cost of
Or
house.
how about they have to rent?
Yeah.
You know, we got into a situation 20 years ago, 15 years ago with the recession where one of the issues with the housing market were there were people that were homeowners that should have been renters, not. Where are we now? 65% of all Americans are homeowners. That's a huge number. And I kind of want to say that we need to take a very close look at that. And, you know, following smaller towns and what they're doing now for zoning, and you can't go high, and you can't do this, and you can't do short-term rental. It's all because the founders of these smaller areas are going to control what's going on, just like in Cherokee County. It's gonna be controlled.
Well, we'll leave this, guys. I said 2011, we should all buy more real estate. What you're doing in 2011, Paige?
Buy more real estate.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, if you can buy some real estate in small towns right now, if you can buy some real estate right now, it's gonna be gold in your pocket and not in the short term. I mean, just go out there and buy it, and when it's there, that's even better. If you go out and buy something in a small town right now, I'm looking for some land for my grandson right now. I want to get cheap land. I wanted to have that, when they turn 40, they'll have some land at Pop. guys start looking at little towns, at some point we have to do what? Go back to little towns, because that's where it's what? It's affordable. It has to happen, like, we're running out of property. They're running, because what they just said, the idea of taking that some.
I would say this next thing, considering we don't have a 401k, we don't have company matches kind of things. We have 401kW, yes, we do. If you're not saving money, you should be. You should have something, whether it's you create your own IRA or Roth IRA or something. You need to just put money, even if you put $20 aside, or create a habit of just depositing money into an account, even if it's just the savings account at your bank, and putting money funneling towards a direction. You need to start doing that now. It doesn't hurt you to save. There's no negative to saving. When you have opportunities present themselves, something's there waiting for you to do it.
Thank you for your patience, I know we're, thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you.
What? Yeah, we're gonna share slides out, can we? Please, yeah. Oh, they've already got it, right, Kim?
Good.